So there's quite a lot in the fashion industry. So you just need to figure out what it is that you are passionate about. Most of my dresses, the first fitting is like the final fitting because of the method that I use to draft my patterns. And then from there, depending on the cut of the dress, that's how I price the swell caps breakage, because a lot of us use the pantyhose, and pantyhose is very dangerous to your hair. So it stretches according to your head shape, and then obviously on the inside with the satin, it helps to basically lock in the moisture of whatever product you used on your hair, and it helps with hair growth.
Hello, hi, you guys. I'm Luandra Jacobs, and I'm here with my co-host, Tanya Boycent, and our guest today is Shaunice, and we will be learning more about fashion design with Shaunice. Shaunice, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here on this beautiful platform. I'm very happy to be here, and I am gonna enjoy this conversation that we're gonna have today.
Yeah, no, definitely. So garment design is an integration of all design elements, including color, texture, space, line, patterns, silhouette, shape, proportion, balance, emphasis, or focal point, rhythm, and harmony. And each of these contribute towards the visual perception of a garment. Yeah, so
it's basically bringing all of these elements to life. Yeah,
indeed.
Awesome. So garment design is part of fashion. And what type of garments do you get? And what elements do you use to basically bring them all to life and make the final product?
There's different kinds of garments within the fashion industry. You have different areas, styles, different types of garments. Like, for example, you have evening gowns, you have your avant-garde, which is a bit more crazy fashion. That's what most people say, but it's more extravagant fashion. And then you have your casual wear, and then you have your ready-to-wear, which also falls under to casual, where something is made in mass production, where people can buy as in when you buy in a retail store. And then there's more high-end fashion, like the haute couture, where it's more something where it's handmade, and there's only a selected few that can purchase those type of garments. So the ones that I mostly focus on is basically evening wear, black tie, and I do a bit of casual. I've done avant-garde before because I have entered a few competitions, like your Durban Julys. So yeah, but mostly I focus on women's fashion.
Nice.
Then, oh no, it's fine. You can carry on with your question.
Okay. So how did your passion for fashion come about?
It's actually a very funny story. My mom started fashion. And basically, when I was like really young, when I was still in like maybe grade 1, grade 2, like primary school, she used to like design dresses. So in our class, we had our own library corner, and they told us to bring like our own library books and stuff like that. And then me and my mom decided to make like a fashion book where we had drawings and we cut out like swatches. So the love for fashion came there. And then as I went on to higher grades in primary school, we had like a Valentine's Day fashion competition, and I basically designed my own dress and I came number 1. So from there I was like, yeah, no, this I'm gonna stick with. So that's where the love for fashion came.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a beautiful story. So the name, how did it come about, and what is the sentimental meaning behind it? Can you just let people know what your business is called?
My brand is called Doris Shaunice. Prior, it was Smith Factory. I just recently rebranded. And the reason for me branding was becoming a new me, basically. And I basically took something I hated, which was my second name, Doris. And I decided, why don't I put that as the brand name and create the new me where I love myself. And that resonates through the clothing that I've started making.
Oh,
Love it.
lovely, lovely. So your business name is your two names combined. That's cool though.
Yes, my first and my second name.
I think it works. It works. It works. It
Yeah.
does work. So did you go to school to add to your skills?
Yes, I did go to school because, like I said, I created a dress when I was in primary school. And when I got to school, I learned you have to add things like dots to make way for a woman's bust because we are very curved in a lot of places. So there's much more things that go into creating a garment than just flat lines. Um, yeah, there's things you have to think about. You need to think about the bust. You need to think about her curves. You need to think about the type of style you want to design. If it has like a nice little flow pattern coming on the top, you have to design all of that. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Just on that, going
Yes.
back to my second question as well. So what do you do like from the raw materials? What is that process from making the final product? What do you go through? And you say you focus more on evening wear. Can you just
Yeah.
elaborate more on that?
So the process for creating a garment, the basic process for creating a garment is firstly, obviously, drawing the type of dress you want, and that's called fashion illustration. So basically, you can do it digitally, or you can do it with pencil and paper. That's what most people do. But now that a lot of people are moving into the digital age, a lot of people are now drawing their designs digitally, which works out way better because you can add more things and basically get a clear vision of what you want. And then you get to the process of doing measurements. Obviously, you have to do body measurements because you need to fit the garment right for that person's body type. And then you move on to drafting the pattern. Now, this you can also do digitally, or you can do the old way with pen and paper. And then then it gets into the process of cutting the fabric. Obviously, you have to choose the type of fabric you want. A lot of evening gowns have a lot of like flowy fabrics, or like your satins, your chiffons, like more elegant types of fabric. And then you also have the embroidery type of fabric, which we use a lot for that, especially beading that goes into evening wear. And
And
then
how long
once
does
you,
that take when you
that
do
takes long,
beading?
sorry. That takes a lot of time, especially if you're alone. Most designers nowadays hire people just to do beading alone because of how complex it is. And it takes a lot of time. It could take about a month or two, probably longer if you by yourself. That's what I've been going through. This is not just a dress that I've been beading, but there's been another dress that I've been beading, and it's been taking me some time. And then from the cutting process, and then you start now sewing the garment. And then once you have sewn the garment, you do your first fitting just to see if everything fits the client correctly. And whatever doesn't fit correctly, that's when you do your adjustments, and then you can fix that up. And then comes to like the final product where they have their dress. So that's the basic process of creating a garment. And then obviously there's also ways to create a garment. There's also a method called draping, where you get a mannequin foam and you basically drape your fabric on that foam. So it's not basically a structured cut. It's more of an avant-garde, abstract type of a design.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I love the way you explain that. And especially now you understand why some dresses take longer because of the beading. It's a
Yeah,
very
especially
difficult
even the
part.
prices. That's why some dresses are quite pricey, because it's actually a lot of work that gets put into them. It's not just you get fabric and you wrap it around somebody. It's quite complex, yes.
Oh, wow. So on that point of the process of designing like a specific garment, what is your booking process for a client then? And when do you buy the material and when do you do the fitting? Can you explain that to us?
So my specific method of how I do my bookings is normally most of my bookings come through WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp. I have a business WhatsApp account, and it's basically in my Instagram bio link. In my Instagram bio, that's where most people get me from, or on my Facebook page. I normally have the link straight to my WhatsApp account. So they would normally send me a picture of an inspired dress that they want. Sometimes they'll have more than one, and then I would have to now do the illustration and bring the two garments together to what the client wants. And then from there, depending on the cut of the dress, that's how I price. So if there's much more detail that goes into the dress, obviously it goes higher. Most of my prices do start from 1,500 going upwards. And that's like the simplest dress. Once I've priced the garment, and then the process of payment is you pay a half deposit before I start, and then the final payment happens once you get the dress. So now how we do the fabric shopping is once they have paid, then I meet up with them where I do their measurements. And then sometimes measurements can happen on the same day we go fabric shopping. I always make sure I go fabric shopping with my clients, because a lot of clients just think that you need fabric alone. They don't think about everything else that needs to be put onto the garment. Now, the way I only charge for my labor and not for the material used to create the garment, because prices obviously fluctuates according to, the rise in prices and stuff like that, or sometimes prices drop. So I never charge for fabric. I only charge for my labor. So we would go fabric shopping. They would choose everything. I would choose everything else that I need to create the garment, which is a lot. And then, I start making the dress, and we do the first fitting. And then obviously if there's adjustments, most of my dresses, the first fitting is like the final fitting because of the method that I use to draft my patterns. It's normally like a perfect fit. There would only be maybe a slight change, which I could do and then they would have to pay me in order for them to get the dress. So that's basically the process.
Okay, question. Sorry, Tanya. On the you said when you take them garment shopping or fabric shopping, do they then pay for fabric and all the tools that you need then?
Yes.
On the day?
Yes. They have to pay. I let them know. Mostly they want an estimate. So depending on the design, I can tell you okay, you might pay around maybe 500 Rand if it's like a simple dress. But if it's a complex dress, then I'd be like, prices will fluctuate because of the material or the things that I will need. But most of the time, the thing that takes a lot of money is garments that need embroidery or fabric that has embroidery or beadwork. Those are the fabrics that cost a lot of money. And then obviously your more royal type of fabrics, like your silks, your what else? Your velvets, that type of a thing, they have a much higher cost.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
And have you had any challenges with some clients, and how have you handled them?
I think with clients, you always have some challenges. Not all the time. The thing is, sometimes a person would come to you with a Beyonce body dress and they do not look like a Beyonce. So you would have to advise them in terms of when you're doing your illustration, because obviously you're thinking about the design and the pattern and how it would fit on their body. So you have to somewhat convince them that, okay, no, you can't have an open line, where it's just open here in the bust. Instead, because you're bigger busted than somebody that has a smaller bust. So maybe if we have it a bit higher. So sometimes you have to try to convince them. And if you don't convince them, and if you actually do what they want and then it doesn't come out the way they wanted it, to come out, then it's kind of a problem. Like you created the problem, whereas you advise them that this won't work for your body. So those are some of the challenges we face. And then other challenges are obviously pricing. You know, sometimes us designers have to stand firm with our pricing because clients don't want to basically pay what you're worth and what your work is worth. So design has a lot of complex things that you have to like do, especially if you want it done correctly. I've had quite a few clients come to me where they went to someone cheaper and that person messed up their garment, and then they have to come back to me and then they have to pay double the amount because in the first place they didn't want to pay what the type of product they want is worth. Sometimes I do, like if it's somebody that I know well, that's when I would only like wiggle the price a bit. But other than that, I wouldn't wiggle my price because obviously I still have to do all that work to create the product you want. So I think sometimes once they understand that whole not being stingy for what you want with your money and just paying the price instead of going through disappointment and then having to come back and pay a lot more just to be happy. So
you just pay for quality. That's
pay for quality, yes.
100%. Yeah. So Shaunice, if people would like to know more about design, sewing, and how to make garments, how do they start and where can they enroll to get lessons, or just share, even if they want to do a short course? Can you perhaps advise?
There's quite a few schools. Obviously, you can go on Google and Google within your area if there's a fashion school. But nowadays, I've seen a lot of designers online that are giving short courses, and it's mostly focused on a specific type of design. Like, let's say, for example, if you want to learn how to do a corset, they have classes on how to create a corset dress type of thing. So there's quite a few online courses, especially if you don't have the budget for it. I would say do a short course, but if you do have the money for varsity, then there's definitely a whole lot of varsities that offer fashion design course. But then also you need to figure out what it is you want to do it in the fashion industry, because there's a lot of courses that come under the fashion line, like there's merchandising, and that has to do with like retail stores and visuals, and then there's illustration, and there's textiles, which has to do with creating fabric patterns. So there's quite a lot in the fashion industry. So you just need to figure out what it is that you are passionate about, and then researching within your area, or if you want to move to another place away from your family, then you can obviously go to another state or to actually study what you want to study. But you first need to figure out what it is that you are passionate about, because there's quite a few things. A lot of people study like fashion merchandise, and they want to become fashion designers, but you don't really learn much about creating a garment there. It's more of visuals and how to
tell us about the swirl cap.
The swirl caps. Okay.
So what's the swirl cap?
Here they are. Yeah, the swirl caps.
Okay.
And then basically it has a satin lining. Obviously, we all know that satin helps with no hair loss. It also helps to grow your hair well without causing any breakage, because a lot of us use the pantyhose, and pantyhose is very dangerous to your hair. It thins your hair out and it creates hair loss, and it also creates hair loss on your edges. Yeah. So basically the swirl caps helps with that. I basically created it because I had a lot of people within my circle say that they use bonnets, and bonnets are like really big and they don't really grab your hair the way we want it to, like pantyhose would, so that your hair could still come out nice and straight. So this basically helps with that because it has stretched fabric on the outside. So it stretches according to your head shape. And then obviously on the inside with the satin, it helps to basically lock in the moisture of whatever product you used on your hair, and it helps with hair growth. So yeah, I am selling these. You can check out the link in my Dora Shaunice page on Instagram, and yeah, that's where you can shop.
Love it. Beautiful. So that's it for our show tonight. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a new YouTube channel that is up and running right now. Please make sure you like and share our videos too. And click that notification button to get more videos from us. And until our next show, see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.